ladies and gentlemen. I'm Joseph Novichko, Senior Trading Manager with GDM. Today's outlook. Firstly, let's start with the Asian markets. They traded mixed on Friday, coming off from earlier highs. As of course, we're looking at the investors that digested a data deluge from China. Gains in Asia followed another record close in US STOXX on Thursday, as the Japan's benchmark also gained about 0.66%. As of course the yen fell broadly and it hit 3-week low versus the dollar after China's second quarter gross domestic product and June activity data pointed to stabilization in China's economy and of course bolstered risk sentiment. Looking at the yen exchange rate versus the dollar, and the dollar that rises 0.9% to 106.27 yen, and it touched high of 106.32 at one point, which is its strongest level since June 24. Chinese mainland markets gave up gains in afternoon trade following a somewhat muted reaction to the second quarter gross domestic product numbers, which were released this morning. The Shanghai composite index dropped 0.3%, erasing gains of more than 0.2% from earlier in the session, while of course the less important Shenzhencomposite index slipped 0.53%. Looking at the retail sales for June in China were up 10.6% on year. Industrial output for June grew 6.2% on year, while the fixed asset investment for the January-June period was up about 9% on the year. European stocks traded lower on Friday as, of course, investor sentiment was dampened by an attack in France, in which, of course, a man drove a truck into a crowd of people celebrating Bastille Day, killing at least 80 people. The STOXX Pan-European STOXX 600 was down 0.33%. Late on Thursday, as we mentioned, a truck driver drove through a crowd in Nice, in the south of France during a Bastille Day celebrations, leaving at least 80 dead and around 18 in critical condition. The attacker was killed. French president extended the state of emergency in France for another 3 months, of course, during the attack. And after, we're expecting more volatile day in the currency market as the euro is unchanged to 1.1133. Also, looking at the British Prime Minister Theresa May that took office and, of course, named her cabinet, helping the UK move towards political stability. The attack hit also the sterling, which gained 1%, 1.3473 yesterday, of the Bank of England, which kept interest rates on hold on Thursday. Of course, investors who had expected a rate cut following Britain's shock vote on June 23 to leave the European Union were quite surprised by the move. Gold in the commodity sectors dipped on Friday on a firmer dollar and surging Asian shares, and were set for the first weekly decline since May after falling to a 2-week low in the previous session. Gold eased 0.4% to 1328.78 per ounce in late Asian trade. Bullion fell about 0.6% on Thursday and hit 1319.82, its lowest since June 30. Also tracking the holdings in the SPDR Gold Trust, the world's largest gold-backed exchange-traded fund, they fell about 0.25% to 962.85 tons on Thursday. Crude futures in the energy sector dipped in Asian trading on Friday on renewed concerns about a global oil glut, but of course losses were capped by slightly better than expected Chinese economic data reflecting government efforts to stabilize growth. US West Texas Intermediate futures were down about 18 cents at $45.50 a barrel, having earlier fallen to $45.05. The contract rose 2.1% in a previous session and is heading for a weekly gain of 1.1%. The most important days in the calendar is the US retail sales at 12:30. That's all for today. Stay tuned. See you next time.